Hi, and welcome to AI Sanity, the adults in the room when it comes to the artificial intelligence revolution. My name's Steve, and I'm a risk analyst. I specialize in artificial intelligence, machine learning, and cybersecurity. And I want to tell you there are risks with AI. It's revolutionary technology. It's going to change society big time and change the way we all live our lives. In fact, it has already. And with any major tech change, there are risks that occur and risks that we do need to talk about. But the problem is AI doomerism has really dominated the discussion. When people talk about AI risks, they generally gravitate to the idea that somehow, some way, machine learning is going to create a cartoonish supervillain hell-bent on wiping out all of humanity. This is, of course, ridiculous. But it has gotten in the way of discussing the real societal risks of artificial intelligence. They are real, and we should be concerned about them. I divide these risks into 5 major categories: the malicious and harmful use of AI by criminals and bad actors, economic disruption and job loss, that's gotten a lot of attention, reduced oversight and quality control of content in general, and the loss of privacy and consumer disempowerment. Finally, the least well understood one, which is the social and psychological impacts of the use of generative AI in all of our lives. All of these are serious, but I want to make a point here. None of these are actual human extinction level events. Let's try to be a little bit mature here. So, the first one being the malicious and harmful use of AI. AI can enable fraud at previously unimaginable levels. I want you to stop for a second and imagine that you want to defraud people. Your job is to sit at home and steal people's money by sending out fake invoices, creating fake investment scams, Ponzi schemes, calling them up and claiming to be a family member in trouble, whatever you can think of. Fraud is very effective, but it scales poorly because it requires humans in the loop. Well, AI enables it to be automated in ways never before possible. This lowers the barrier for fraud, and it allows things like creation of deep fakes. They're a very effective way of committing confidence crimes. AI enables better email and social networking, social engineering capabilities rather, like phishing, and we're already seeing that. AI systems and AI models can be part of automating hacking of systems. And it's important to note that this does not fundamentally change the equation. It just dials up the volume on it. The methods that we have of avoiding cybercrime, of mitigating against fraud, like secure escrow, transaction reversibility, banking level tracking, these still work, and we do need to deploy them, but they're not deployed enough. AI can be used in misinformation campaigns, and it can really turbocharge those. And the losses due to fraud and cybercrime are already staggering. As I said, defensive measures do remain highly effective, but my biggest concern is that it's likely that high losses will be absorbed and redistributed. Already, cyber insurance has created a ransomware crisis. What it does is it just pays ransom irresponsibly and packs on more premiums that drive up inflation and hurt society. Costs are redistributed through the healthcare system and through taxes. And my fear, and I think it's very reasonable, is that institutions will continue to do this. We'll continue to see fraud and crimes enabled by irresponsible insurance companies and irresponsible banking. And that is something that I am very concerned about. There's the economic disruption and job loss side, which has gotten quite a bit of attention. AI and automation are likely to displace jobs. In fact, they will displace jobs. But I want to be cautious on something. The sort of doomsday narrative of hundreds of millions of people being permanently unemployed is highly unlikely. It may hurt a little bit, but it's unlikely to cause a Great Depression or anything like that. Major job losses directly due to artificial intelligence, believe it or not, remain theoretical. We have not seen mass layoffs from this. We have not seen whole sectors destaffing areas. And that may be because AI is only starting to be deployed into work streams, and a lot of companies don't know how to use it. It may create more jobs than it costs, but there could still be pain if it's an asymmetric creation or the losses lead creation. And certain sectors and professions will fare better than others. While we haven't seen mass layoffs, we have in certain sectors see the sort of canary in the coal mine. Creative independent professionals, independent copy editors, they're seeing already a reduction in demand, and it can get worse. It may reduce the value of creative professionals. And the thing is, AI literacy remains very poor in the workforce and population. So while I'm generally optimistic for the long term, it may be something that's going to have some real kind of economic teething problems. AI can also create market level disruptions with automated trading and, things that really fundamentally change the way entire sectors of the economy operate. Automation can be destabilizing to various economic systems. And there's also the potential for the bubble effect of overinvestment in too many AI players, some of whom will be culled by the market. That could be real too. There's also the issue of reduced oversight and quality control. The AI slop effect we've all seen, right? We've all seen that. The sheer number of articles on the internet that are poorly written by AI bots lacks perplexity, lacks diversity. It's homogenized to almost gray goo, right? We've all seen that before. Good AI content is possible, but it has to be governed by humans. It has to be carefully selected, prompted, refined, and my fear is that there's a strong temptation to just remove humans because it's cheaper. Just prompt an article into creation, prompt a computer program, and it's, again, going to potentially risk devaluing creative talent. AI models may hallucinate, and this has already been seen as a burden by librarians and fact checkers who are stuck checking out articles and studies that never happened. It's even shown up in scientific journalism, believe it or not. AI-enabled vibe coding can introduce new risks to programming and coding, which already has terrible quality control. My fear is that this may extend to other systems. There could be AI generating plumbing and electrical schematics, instruction manuals, textbooks, and we may see a general reduction of quality control and an acceptance of greater error rates. And, once we accept AI slop, there may be no going back. And that's certainly a scary possibility. There are privacy and consumer disempowerment concerns because AI complicates the problem of maintaining privacy. Here's how I like to put it. In order to discover what a person does online, what their life is like, what their preferences are, you'd have to hire a whole team of private investigators. But with AI, not anymore. You could do it automated. And that really is a little bit scary when you consider how good it is at de-anonymizing individuals. AI can track behavior and trends, and it may make private data more valuable to large organizations who want to use it to optimize or hyper sell their products, create more individual advertisements, and that may not be a world that we want to live in. AI-based marketing can cross the line. It can be very manipulative. It can enable surveillance states and governments. AI may create greater power imbalances when organizations that can afford the technology surging ahead of smaller organizations that can't. And then we come to the social and psychological impacts, a very poorly studied area. An area that really does concern me due to some of the early reports we've seen of things like chatbot psychosis, even people committing suicide after bonding with chatbots. And natural language processing, NLP, is really the chief concern here. Social isolation is already a major problem for society. It's gotten worse since COVID with work at home and a lot of remote ordering of products. And the use of NLP technology such as chatbots may increase. It says decrease, should say increase, social isolation. Some people are forming parasocial relationships to chatbots. They think the chatbot's their friend, and it's an empty relationship because it's not. There are real concerns about chatbot psychosis. One of the issues is that large language models are designed to be friendly and reinforcing and not provide a lot of friction, but that can result in an echo chamber that entrenches and pushes ideologies to the extreme, polarizing views, and the echo chamber that can reinforce and validate delusional thinking. It can be especially harmful for individuals who have pre-existing mental health conditions. Having verbal interactions with objects and systems has unknown impacts on social development. What's it going to be like to be a kid who grows up in a world where you can have conversations with cars and toasters? It could cause a sort of a paradoxical shift in how we look at humans and may result in weakening of real relations or can create unreasonable social expectations. I worry about people with autism or schizophrenia or some other condition that might put them at a disadvantage for understanding what's going on to begin with. There could be problems with misplaced empathy. There could be a loss of skills due to the GPS effect, which is the effect of GPS reducing people's ability to navigate in their own cities. As we use AI for more writing and expression, we could lose a lot of our writing capabilities. If you don't exercise it, it goes into atrophy, right? There are other risks to consider. There's the environmental footprint of data centers and things like the water and power usage, the economic distortion of computing costs. Data centers don't just impact the environment, they impact the local economy. Power systems, you could have increases in electricity costs, the cost of computing, shortages of GPUs. We're already seeing shortages of memory. There's worker exploitation and data labeling in RLHF, that's reinforcement learning with human feedback. A lot of AI companies have been accused of using low-paid contract workers to refine and correct their AI models. And human workers may be stuck in less fulfilling roles, like checking AI content for errors. Who wants to do that? AI can enable harassment and bullying at scale and in worse ways than before. You could file that under malicious use, but it is kind of its own category. And then there are the false incident reports and wild goose chases. False news reports of crimes that never happened, images of child abuse for kids who aren't real. And the thing is, these send authorities on potential wild goose chases for incidents that never even happened, which can really hurt law enforcement in going after the incidents and crimes that are real. And then there's the rise of doomsday beliefs. AI doomerism is absolutely a cult. It functions as a cult. It has cult leaders. It has a belief in an apocalyptic end, a sense of purpose, community. AI doomerism cult members use P-Doom as a badge of honor. P-Doom is, what is your percentage that AI will wipe out humanity? Yeah, people take it seriously. There's unquestionable dogma, beliefs that give people purpose. It is absolutely a cult. It is an apocalyptic cult, and apocalyptic cults can be quite dangerous.
All right, stop AI or we're all going to die. Stop AI or we're all gonna die. Stop AI or we're all gonna die. Stop AI or we're all gonna die. Close OpenAI. Close OpenAI. Close OpenAI. Close OpenAI.
Media outlets love the narrative, and they've really advanced it. And it's proven extremely harmful for rational attempts like my own to actually discuss the real risks and mitigations of actual AI safety. Irrational beliefs and AI fears have come to dominate the discussion. They're causing a lot of people a lot of fears that they shouldn't. And AI doom really does worry me because doomsday cults do inspire extremist actions, even violence. We've already seen a little bit of that in the AI doom cult movement. But I have some good news because these risks can be mitigated. And the biggest one, better education in AI literacy. Let's get away from the superstition and actually learn how these systems work so that we can better understand how they integrate into our lives and jobs. More research is absolutely needed on the psychological impacts of AI, and the technical approval and baseline risk management for AI systems is practically non-existent and is very much needed. A move to stronger access control and secure systems is long overdue and is made far worse by AI. We need better fraud control, better access control, better auditing. The universal implementation of fraud control measures is really, really lagging the need. System hardening, resilience, and disruption-resistant systems are also important, and they're also lagging. Realistic and evidence-based economic and market regulation and an understanding of how it may affect jobs and economies is important. And we do need to rethink the hiring and employment culture that we currently have because partially because of AI, it's really degenerated into a nightmare for job seekers and companies that put absolutely no value at all on the skills of their worker. And we really, as a society, need to rethink this because if the goal was to improve efficiency in hiring, it has badly overshot the target. But, there are other areas. We need improved privacy and data control regulations, data sovereignty. And at an institutional level, we really need greater acceptance of the fact that there need to be changes. And a lot of institutions are just really set in their beliefs. That doesn't work that well during this type of revolution. So again, these are the big risks, the real ones, the ones that aren't sci-fi cartoonish supervillains, and they are important, but they are not insurmountable. I hope you'll join me for more AI sanity when we talk about reality and we act like the adults in the room here and don't just degenerate into the idea that natural language processing and machine learning is somehow going to spawn Skynet or something crazy like that. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.